What's that?
Okay.
I am.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Whoa, whoa, whoa. This is my phone. Why?
Even though I've not committed a crime.
When you're out here filming the police. For no reason?
For no reason?
Perpendicular to the ground. Just so you know, I'm recording this conversation, just for my records.
Okay, let me explain something to you.
Okay.
What are you recording?
I am recording this conversation that we have right now because I don't think it's obstructing, sir.
To you.
Yes, sir.
You can go to jail for that, what you just did.
I don't think the Supreme Court decision of Peck versus Alfred.
Let me explain something to you.
Okay.
Okay. It is illegal for you to record a conversation without my permission and without notifying me.
I just informed you, sir, that
you did not have my permission, and you just notified me after you started recording the conversation.
Is this a camera? Don't you?
Mr. Hill, turn the camera off.
No, sir.
What are you doing? Oh, you're interfering with my freedom. No, it's not.
You're not. This is why we're out here, sir. It's not that it's illegal for you to be here. Yeah, it's not illegal for you to be here. Okay, that's good. Okay, hold on. Let me talk.
Go ahead, talk. I'm listening. Go ahead.
Okay. When people film video.
Yeah. Don't get in my face and don't be so close to me.
Not in my face. I'm not in your face.
Well, you were, but you switched sides. Hey!
Okay. All right.
No, hold on. I have a constitutional right to record what's going on here.
You're recording.
You're interfering with that by putting your hand in front of my camera. Take your hand away from my camera, please.
Okay. Let me talk to you for a minute.
Feel free. I would appreciate it if you move your hand so I can record this.
Okay. You're recording.
No, but you're blocking it. Okay.
Going to record. I have this message. You have to say you're recording. I'm recording.
I had her outside with the milk, strawberry milk.
Yeah, this okay, so is everything else set? Hey, you can't do that. You can't do that. I'm Massachusetts. It's the law. It's the law.
Richie, get him back up.
It's the law in Massachusetts. You just smacked my mother in the face. You just smacked my mother in the face. And you got this kid crazy.
I'm not taking anyone's picture.
Why are you recording me, sir?
I'm recording the event.
No,
your
event is
everything
that way.
is in the event.
My face is this way.
Well,
okay?
I'm recording you now because you're in my
face.
face.
I'm sitting in that car right there.
Okay.
I'm not giving you permission to record me.
The King County Sheriff put one of his sergeants on paid leave this week over accusations made by a local reporter. KOMO 4's Joel Marino spoke with the news editor at The Stranger about threats of arrest and workplace harassment. He's live in Seattle. Joel?
Molly, the complaints are against both a sheriff's sergeant and a Seattle police officer. The reporter says he was just doing his job out here at a metro station, but he says he was bullied and intimidated by people sworn to protect us.
That I was holding my phone and taking pictures.
Pictures of Seattle police and a King County sheriff's sergeant. They were questioning a man in the International District when Dominic Holden, the news editor at The Stranger, rode up on his bicycle and started taking these pictures. Holden says the sheriff's sergeant didn't want him there.
Sergeant Soule then said that I needed to leave the entire block or I would be arrested.
Holden pointed out he was a journalist on public property and believed it was lawful for him to be there.
We are about 20 feet or so away.
He says other people were even closer to the officers who by then had released the man. Holden says Sergeant Patrick Casey Soule still ordered him to cross the street.
This is the type of comparatively low-level interaction that I believe ultimately deteriorates trust in our law enforcement.
Where we're standing, this is public property. As long as they're not directly interfering with an investigation, they have a right to stand there and videotape or take photos.
Holden did cross the street, but says it didn't end there. When he asked for the commanding officer's name, Holden says Seattle police officer John Marion tried to intimidate him.
At that point, the SPD officer asked where I worked, and when I told him, he threatened to come bother me at The Stranger. And this is a needless escalation.
Holden has filed formal complaints against the officers and says both Seattle Police and the King County Sheriff's Office appear to be taking the investigation seriously.
The question is whether their good intentions of following up actually result in any sort of discipline for the officers. That remains to be seen.
And no comment tonight from Seattle Police. They said someone could talk tomorrow. Their officer is under investigation but remains on the job. Again, the sheriff has placed his sergeant on paid leave while that investigation continues. Reporting live, Joel Marino, KOMO 4 News.
Thank you, Joel. A new complaint has Seattle police stepping up to clarify your rights when it comes to videotaping an officer during a criminal investigation on the streets of the city. KOMO 4's Joel Marino covered the criticisms last night. He's live right now in Seattle with how police are responding. Joel?
Dan, the department wants people to know that they have the highest expectations of their officers, and they thoroughly investigate complaints to the contrary. Well, one such complaint arose right here at this metro station.
I stood right here and I took a picture of the officers.
A complaint by local reporter Dominic Holden turned into an internal investigation against a Seattle police officer. Holden says Officer John Marion tried to intimidate him in the International District, and the department is paying attention.
We want to make sure that all the rules were adhered to. There was a pretty serious allegation made against one of our officers.
Holden has filed 2 formal complaints, one against Marion, the other against King County Sheriff Sergeant Casey Soleil. The news editor for The Stranger saw officers questioning a man near a metro station last week.
And I'd moved a few feet over this direction.
Holden says Soleil saw him taking pictures and didn't want him there.
At this point, Sergeant Soleil approached me and he said that I had to leave or I would be arrested.
A sheriff spokesperson says that's not how it's supposed to work for anyone.
Citizens can video and audio tape us while we're doing our work. A citizen has a right to do that.
Holden says he did back away, only to have a run-in with Officer Marion. Holden says he asked for the name of the commanding officer, but Marion answered by saying he'd show up at the newspaper office and bother him.
The first one escalates it into the threat of arrest. The second one escalates it with the threat to come and harass me at my job.
Seattle police have made changes since the department found a pattern of excessive force in the department and a tendency for officers to escalate situations. All officers now undergo a training program called LEAD, which they hope will build public trust by treating people fairly and courteously.
And we want to make sure that we're treating everyone with dignity and respect.
Now, in terms of videotaping officers, Seattle police, they echo the King County Sheriff's Office in that it is completely legal. As for the reporter's complaints, both of the officers, they are under investigation. However, Marion, he remains on the job, whereas Sergeant Soleil, he is on paid leave. Reporting live here in Seattle.